Okay. Yay. We are live on Facebook. And let's just set this up for Instagram. So we get our Instagrammers joining us as well. Switch up the cameras. Okay.
Nice Flow Jam sticker.
You like that? Yeah. My camera is like all messed up, but I mean, the camera's fine. It's just my phone is I've dropped it a few times. And then, yeah, I just put on the Flow Jam sticker for this year. So little backdrop promo there, of course.
It's beautiful. And I love the artwork for Flow Jam this year.
Thank you.
Gorgeous.
I love it too. Every time I'm like putting flyers up or posters, I'm just like, damn, this looks good.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I looked at a lot of designers. A lot of people applied to do our poster, and she just caught my eye with her designs, and then she just like hit it. So
gorgeous.
Really wonderful. She's from Bulgaria. So I had to message her and be like, this is what the Blue Ridge Mountains look like. You know, this is what the feeling of it. And she just captured it. She's like, this is a little different than your other posters and your flyers, but I think it's going to work. And when I saw it, I was like,
it's a stunning piece of artwork. It really is.
I will let her know. She's working on our schedule right now and the map, which takes a little while. But let me introduce who we're here with. We're here with Carmelle, who is going to be sharing a live set with her band, Natural Mystic. And she's also going to be teaching a few workshops on the schedule. Stay tuned for that. I would love for you to introduce yourself. Tell us what you like, what you're passionate about, what you do, what you're excited about for Flow Jam, and then we'll just go from there.
Okay, thanks. Thank you, Meredith, for having me. I'm excited to be here. I'm Carmelle, and I'm a musician and a medicine woman. I was exposed to the world of music and music festivals kind of late in life, and I actually was already a mom. I was a single mom with a 2-year-old. The first time I ever went to a festival, I went to the Rainbow Gathering. And it was very transformative and eye-opening for me. I heard medicine music for the first time, and I was just all like, wow. And I actually took a year off of work, and my son and I just went from festival to festival, mostly to smaller, like boutique festivals, kind of similar to Flow Jam, like, 1,000 people or less. And of course we spent
a boutique festival.
Yeah. And we spent a lot of time at the Rainbow Gathering that year as well. This was all in Israel, and where I'm from. And the music really penetrated me and transformed me. And I was just, I was like, whatever that is, I need to be a part of it and make my whole life about that. Because up until then, I had a master's, and I had just finished my master's in psychology.
Oh, wow.
So I was planning to be a psychologist, and then did sort of a 180 and left the university and started studying music, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, I started studying music and also plant medicine. Those two passions sort of developed alongside one another, and spent a few years with the master plants, traveling, sitting with different indigenous elders. And that's what I've been doing for the last several years, is just kind of developing my knowledge and deepening my own practice with both with plants and with music.
Wow. That's amazing. I did my undergrad in psychology, and so good to have. I think it helped me like figure out who I was, and I could understand my mind a little bit better, how it worked. And then traveling just like opened that up to be a big wide world of like, wow, we only look at this tiny lens through psychology when there's like
Mhm.
all of these different lenses, not of the Western world's, constructs, but very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So,
Yeah, and one thing actually about my undergrad in psychology, there was one piece of that that really contributed to where I am today and what I do today is in my bachelor's, I had a professor assign us a book called The Continuum Concept. It was
mm,
a child psychology course. Um, but the continuum concept is not actually a psychology book. It's closer to an ethnography, so it's more anthropological than psychological. And it's not even, she wasn't even an anthropologist. She went to Venezuela to look for diamonds, and
wow.
she lived yeah, she lived with some indigenous people for like a year, and she noticed that in the whole year there she never heard a baby cry. And she was like, why don't Amazonian babies cry? And then
Wow.
she wrote this book about it, which basically says that, um, hunter gatherers and indigenous people who live, in nature, they live in a way that it matches their body's expectation for human life on Earth. So, starting with childhood, as babies, they're just never put down. Most indigenous people never put their babies on the ground. In Bali, it's like the baby doesn't touch the ground for 3 months. And in other places, it's maybe not as strict as that. But in general, the babies are never put down. They're always on somebody. They're on a lap. They're on someone's back. So I read that book, and that was super eye-opening for me. And just it sparked an interest that I had in indigenous people and learning from them. I already actually had been exposed to shamanism. I sat in my first sweat lodge when I was 15. So I already knew a little bit about the Red Road, but that book was another big eye opener for me. And then actually in my master's, I wrote my thesis about baby wearing, because I already had my son and he was like living on my back. So that was another piece that led me towards living with indigenous people and learning from them, learning how to learning about the plants from them, learning about their lives, learning about how to be a happy person and a good person.
Wow. What interesting, like what a unique experience to have. And I know that you've, like you said, you've been traveling all around and kind of living like, completely surrendering to this knowledge and life, which is, I'm sure, makes you a very strong and powerful healer as well. Because you're actually living it day by day.
Well, it's really interesting to translate what you learn when you live with natives back into the 3D world. Because now I live right outside of Washington, D.C., in Silver Spring, Maryland, and so it's interesting kind of navigating that and integrating that into this life, into the city.
I think that's a main like pain point of most people that come back after having these experiences, which is why, having a spiritual healer coach or going to gatherings like this where we can, tap into that we might not like get on the reg, and you get it like 4 days in a row. So for a lot of people, that's gonna like that ripple effect is going to have, transformative results, not just for you, but like, the people that you interact with and everything. So that's really exciting that you're bringing this energy to Flow Jam. I know that, and maybe people joining us, I know that we've have some people on Instagram saying hi. And if you were with us, and I think either it was 2018 or 2019, I can't remember, that you closed out with a sound healing and prayer and song, and I fell asleep I fell asleep and everyone was around me, and then I woke up and it was like just stars, and I was just like, oh, I guess I really got, like really slept, and it was Sunday, so I was very tired, but it was so
Yeah,
nice, so magical. So we're
that was a
excited.
beautiful day.
Yeah. We haven't released the schedule to the public yet, but we hint, hint, might be tomorrow. And, you are scheduled to end our, be our last workshop on the schedule with Dante as well. And I'm looking forward to that, really excited for that. And also new on the schedule that hasn't happened before, like an actual scheduled song ceremony by the fire that you're going to be leading, which is super great. And we have a fire tender that can also help you as well. I don't know if you've met, why am I blanking on her? Katie Randall. She just
Yes, she's a friend of Dante and Dante's mom. Mhm.
Yes. So she'll be coming as well and helping with the fire. But I know that we don't have that much time, so I would love for people to know like what excites you most about coming back to Flow Jam after so much time, and also where can we find you? How can we work with you?
So one thing I'm really excited about with Flow Jam is I've been working with this a lot the last few years. I think there's two layers to healing. And the first one is, or two layers to transformation. And the first one is healing. So you work with the painful, parts of yourself, and, shadow work, and, the grandmother medicine is very good for that. You just kind of, go into all, you look at your deficiencies from childhood, what you wanted to receive and didn't receive. And you mourn it, you cry for it, you sit in a process with it. And so after that healing phase, the next phase is to actually give yourself whatever it is that you didn't receive, and to actually nourish those deficiencies, to bring, to give it to yourself, whatever it is you wanted as a child and didn't receive, to actually to parent yourself, and to actually make sure that you receive that. And a lot of that for me has to do with joy, because I think what everyone really wants, what every human comes into this life kind of desiring and expecting, is joy, connection, community. So if you look at Indigenous people, a lot of them, in my experience, they do emanate a lot of joy. And part of that is because of community. They're always together. Like when I lived in Mexico, I lived with Mayans, and they have absolutely no value on like alone time. Like you spend your entire day surrounded by people, family, friends, that togetherness. And in Western society, or in like first world society, it's not like that. We live in big houses, and then it's just one person, or we're just isolated. Like, and so festivals, I think, are really, really important medicine. In that second layer of medicine of joy and community. And I'm such a believer in that. Like, I also think shadow work and healing is really important. And actually Dante, my partner, he does a lot of work in that space, like whether with sound healing and working with people one-on-one, calming the nervous system, teaching meditation, teaching yoga and qigong. And for me, like these days, I'm just all about the second stage. I'm all about like, okay, all right, like, yeah, do that work for sure. Do that work. But then after that, like, now it's time to be joyful, and to celebrate, and to dance, and to sing, and to, that just like that sunshine energy. That's really what I'm working with all day, every day. And so, summertime around here and festival season is just it's so important. It's so important because we get to integrate that part of us that wants to be surrounded by people, and we get to live like a tribe for a few days. And so I'm really, really, really believe in that. I'm excited. I'm super excited for Flow Jam. You've done a beautiful job, and I'm so excited to hear the bands, and to be part of the workshops and everything.
Yay. Me too. I like just hearing you talk is really, you get it. Like, Flow Jam is a manifestation of so much that I went through in childhood that I like desired, the community, the family, the like, ride or die tribe, and also I think a lot of festivals that are healing oriented are focusing on like so much shadow work and all this stuff that sometimes the joy is like left out. And one of the quotes that I have from Dante is like, this festival brings a lot of joy, like, this is like a representation of my heart and it exploding with like what I believe is like, exactly how you put it, which was magnificent because I don't think I could have put it in such great words, but of like the 2-part step. But yeah, it's that you can see from the design as well, the rainbow, the clouds, the mountains, like this is our time to heal, but also like, let's leave feeling so super good and joyful. So yeah, I'm glad that you put that into words. Okay, so I hate, like, I could talk to you guys all day. I swear, like these have been so great for me and so nourishing. And I hope the community also are. I know that we have people on Instagram watching, and I know we have people on Facebook. But I would love to know how we could get in touch with you before we hop off, and how people can connect with you other than going to FlowJam's site and seeing the lineup page. Seeing your website, but maybe you could connect with your Instagram handle, share that for a moment.
I'm very active on Facebook and Instagram. My Instagram handle is just my name. It's at Carmelle Levia, one word. So CarmelleVia. And yeah, you can find me. My main work these days is around the fire and plant medicine, where we also are putting a lot of energy into joy. And then the integration piece is singing circles, local singing circles in DC. But my absolute favorite thing to do is these festivals. So thank you so much, Meredith. This was a great conversation. Thank you for having me at Flow Jam. I really appreciate you.
I'm so excited. And the only reason I am like not moving, or that I'm like, this isn't even short, like these interviews have gone like sometimes an hour because I can't stop talking. But, I've got this Pilates class and I'm really trying to like, stay in the balance zone during these last, 2 weeks or 10 days, because I just sent an email out. So thank you so much for joining us. I am super stoked for Flow Jam. Like the more, the closer we get, it's just very exciting. So thank you again. And we'll share this if you're watching, please share it, buy your tickets, flowjamfestival.com. They go up June 1st. So why not buy them now? Cause you're coming, right? Like buy them now. So save that money, spend it on the vendors, and yeah, we'll see you there.
Okay. Bye, Meredith. Thank you.